Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shelf Media Society, the show by the community for the community. Yes, this is a Blu-ray focused physical media podcast, and we are here today joined by Callum over at Blu-Ray Broskis. Welcome, Callum.
Thank you for having me on.
Great. We're really pleased to have you on. You're somebody that's been on my wish list of coming on podcast for a while, as we've spoken about, but I'm really pleased that you've agreed to come on to the show today. We're just gonna have a really, informal conversation, and I guess try and introduce Callum and his channel and pages, etc., into the community, so to speak. Blu-ray Broskis. Now, I came across your channel like many people do on TikTok nowadays, I suppose. I mean, I call it a channel because you're primarily on TikTok, ain't you? And a little bit on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started on Instagram, then moved over to TikTok because I like Instagram, but I feel like it's not as much of a community. I feel like people don't, communicate as much and talk to each other as much over there.
Yeah. Now, you might, if you are on the side of Blu-ray physical media on TikTok, you might have seen. I can't remember how it goes now. But when you say it, I know how it goes. It's one movie, one collection. How'd you start your videos? They all
So
really.
it's always it's one movie, 1 year, one collection.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It gives you like, oh, you was he watched today, and you just like watch the thing. So, yeah, I love a good hook on TikTok. So you might have come across that. You might not follow, but you might have watched definitely, because that's how I came across yourself, and I've been hooked ever since. And I just, we've got different topics on Shelf Media Society every single week with loads of different creators that we've got in the pipeline. But yourself is quite unique, in terms of the importance, I think, of watching your collection, and I really do think that, you might agree or disagree, but is there something in the world where we tend to buy a lot, but then just sits on the shelf and we never actually watch it? Whereas I guess your stance is very much, I'm going to blitz my entire collection this year, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely. Especially as you say, I am in the community of watching people on YouTube, Blu-ray collectors and things like that. And I see people with thousands of movies, and every time I watch them review titles, they're like, "Oh, I haven't actually watched it yet, but the packaging's nice," and things like that. And I'm just like, fair enough if that's how you want to spend your money and things, but I'm more like, if I'm going to buy a movie, I'm going to watch it.
Yes. No, I totally agree. Totally agree. So, I guess, firstly, let's go right back to the beginning. What would you say originally drew you to collecting physical media? Again, did you have a break like many of us do, or have you always collected from as far as you can remember? What is it? What is it about owning a film to you?
So going back as far as I can remember, even when I was a kid, I had VHS tapes. I'd always keep at my family members' house, and I'd always take them around all the time to show like your cousins and
Mm,
things like that. And then I moved on to DVDs a little bit later down the line, like not fully collecting, but just like you'd go to car booths as a kid, you'd go to like charity shops, you'd find a couple of DVDs you might like for £1 or whatever. So I started with those, and then once I started, like after we all got a job and got some money and all that, started upgrading to Blu-rays. Just it was just a small collection at the start, just the key franchises that I watched all the time, really, the key
yeah.
sort of movies that I loved. And then it eventually just grew into what it is now, where if I watch a movie and I love it and I want to rewatch it, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. So are you somebody like me then, I guess, in terms of a blind buyer? Because there's some people out there that will not buy a Blu-ray if they haven't seen it before, or do you just buy something if you like the look of it or heard good things? Or
So when it usually comes to blind buys, I've not got the best track record. Usually I'll buy something and 9 times out of 10, they're pretty crap and they're not very good.
Hmm,
But my thing with blind buying is it either has to be something on paper that I am 99% sure I'm going to like, or if it's just cheap enough and I'm like, if it's crap, I can always get rid of it. It's only cost me £1. It's only cost me £2. I'm not too bothered.
yeah, totally. So I think I'm in that camp. To be fair, like I do blind buy 4K 3 for 50. That's probably as far as I go, but I don't think I'd buy like a brand new release full price steelbook, so to speak.
No,
You
no,
know,
definitely not.
yeah,
Especially with how much steelbooks have gone. Like, you
yeah,
can't be paying 35, 40 quid for a film. You watch it and you go, oh, I didn't even like that.
yeah. So I guess what made you start doing this challenge this year? Did you just look at your collection and think, I've watched all these, or is it time to rewatch some of them? What made you, you know,
So
do
what
it?
it was is I've actually done this challenge once before, but 2 to 3 years ago over on Instagram. But I was just posting pictures, no videos,
Okay.
no like intro, anything like that. It was just, the caption would just be day one, whatever film I watched, then the next one.
Mm.
And I just thought I've not watched any of my movies since I did that last challenge, so it had been 2 to 3 years. So I was like, need to get back on top of this. Had the TikTok for a few months now, but started it like really started to ramp up in January. Wanted to
Yeah.
give it a good push this year, and I thought this challenge is good. It's engaging. It's something that can get people talking. Someone might see me watch a film on day 84 and go, "Oh, that's one of my favorites," or someone might see me watch one on day 70 and go, oh, "I've not seen that before. Let me give it a try."
Mm. And is there any method to your madness in terms of, is it just what you fancy on the day? Because I don't know if you go through the shelf in order or is you just
Yeah.
random.
So there was a couple of ideas going back and forth when I first started it. I was like, oh, do I just watch them in A to Z and make my life very easy? And I
Mm.
decided to go against that and not make my life very easy.
Yeah.
So it is just essentially I look at the shelf every day, pick what I want, but then at the end of each video, I do ask people for suggestions. So if they want me to watch something really bad in the next like week or so, I'll prioritize getting that watched.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And I guess I'm assuming then as you're going through, are you cleansing at the same time? Like, is there any that you thought this is terrible, actually it's not staying on the shelf, or is that not
Oh,
part of it?
absolutely. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Especially when it comes to the blind buys. I think at the start of this, I had about 10 or 11 blind buys that I'd
Hmm.
never seen before. And I think like two of them have stayed so far.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
Yeah, that's why I said I've got an awful track record with blind buys.
yeah. Well, I tend to do like a culling at the beginning of the year. Like I kind of see January as a real opportunity to, stand by my shelves, film it, and also just go through them one by one. And because perception can change, can't it? And perspective, I suppose, of what you want on your shelves, year on year, and so to speak. So it's always good to have a reset. But I suppose if you're doing a challenge like that, it's probably easier to just like, you watch it. Is it going back on the shelf or is it going in that
Yeah,
pile to?
exactly. While it's already off the shelf, see if it's coming back or not.
Yeah, it's not valuable to stay back on. It's not going back on. It's not. It
No,
doesn't
no,
earn that.
it's not tainting the rest of the collection.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. So do you think like people have like a sense of like satisfaction, I suppose, from buying physical media like 4Ks, Blu-rays that they never watch? Is it just like you touched on earlier about like packaging, so to speak? Is that what it's down to, or have you been you know have you done that? I suppose yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. We've all done it where, I'm sure on everyone's shelf somewhere you've got a really nice steelbook or a really nice collector's edition from like Arrow or something like that that you've never seen. You might have had it for years. It looks nice on the shelf, so you don't want to get rid of it, but you also haven't found the time to watch it, or just know in the back of your mind you're not going to watch it, but
Yeah.
you like how it looks and you like, how it looks on your shelf and how it's presented.
Yeah. I guess I've had the same thing where you kind of buy. I've got a few box sets that are quite expensive, 4K ones, and mainly just like the Star Trek ones. They're 4K Star Trek ones, but I've never seen them yet. Still, they're probably the only like expensive sets I think I've got. But it is difficult because as a physical media collector, I suppose I like to say I'm a physical media collector, but at the same time, I kind of like to. The reason why I collect is because of having the physical disc and watching the best quality as a. I'm a bit of a tech nut, so to speak. So I like the best picture, the best quality, best sound, best, the best that I can get within reason. So a lot of my videos tend to be around, Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, comparing the two, Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. I've done recently all these different things, that you hear about, but what do they actually mean, and are
Yeah.
they worth it? Um, so for me, it's just a thing. But I think when I've started, so that was my initial reason for collecting, is having those discs on the shelf. But where it's gone now is having a disc, a physical disc to put in a player. I don't know about you, but I pay more attention to the film than if I just watched it on Netflix. Don't know
Yeah.
if
Oh no, I'm the exact same. If I watch something on streaming, you might be checking your phone or you might be talking to someone throughout or whatever. But if I've paid, 20, 30 quid for a nice steelbook or whatever, when I put it in the player, I'm going to make sure I pay
you're on it.
attention.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like because it's such a it gets to that point with Letterbox, which I know you're on Letterbox yourself, but it's like, oh, I've been this has been on Netflix. Oh, can I count this as a Letterbox watch? Probably not, because I've chatted to my other half all the way through it, or I've been playing with the
Yeah,
dog, and
exactly.
so I don't count
There's
some. But
been
then
there's
yeah,
been many a film for me that I've gone, you know what, it's not going on the letterbox. I've watched like 10% of it. I've waffled
yeah.
all the way through. It's not doing it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It is a minefield, but again, physical media itself is a huge, huge plethora of little issues and stuff that we have. So as you're going through your little challenge, then I did write down a little question to ask you about. As you're watching the Blu-ray, are you experiencing the whole Blu-ray, so to speak, the special features, commentaries, stuff like that, or are you just watching the film of each one? Is there some that you've dabbled in, those bonus stuff, or?
Yeah, so it's mainly just watching the films, just
Mm,
because if I was to look at the special features on every single one, as I'm watching every single one, I think this challenge would take me double the time.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for the odd films, like especially some of my real favorites, I'll have a look at the behind the scenes, the deleted scenes, stuff like that, because they're the movies you really want to see how they're made.
yeah. I guess it's like if you watch something then and you're kind of like, oh, I want to see a bit more. I wasn't ready for this to end, so to speak.
Yeah,
So I'll, yeah, delve into a bit more, which I guess is normal. But I didn't know if that was part of your challenge, I guess, and everything.
yeah, not really part of the challenge so far, but like one of my favorite movies of all time is Last Night in Soho. So
Mm.
when I eventually get to that, I usually end up watching all the speeches
You
every
just
single time for
the
it.
whole disc back to back. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. And I'm not sure if I might have seen it. I'm not sure, but do you have just Blu-ray? Are you 4K as well, or is it
So it's kind of just a mix, really, because I'm
Mm,
a majority steelbook collector. It's
mm,
whatever the steelbook comes out as. So if they only release a Blu-ray, I'll grab the Blu-ray. If it's a 4K, I'll grab that. If it's both, etc.
yeah.
And if it doesn't have a steelbook, then it's kind of just grab whichever version has a good price, really.
Okay, so you would prioritize a steelbook if it had a steelbook over everything.
Oh,
Fair.
100%. I've
Yeah.
paid so much money on eBay and things like that before for foreign import steelbooks when I could have got the 4K or the Blu-ray here for like 15 quid.
Yeah. And I guess that makes things a little bit unique in your collection then as well, because you've got a few things that maybe most people won't have for importing a few bits and bobs, as you
Oh,
say.
exactly. Yeah. Like I remember when I first started collecting, I think one of my very first steelbooks was, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's the 2005 remake of House of Wax.
Okay, yeah,
And
I know of it.
it's a German steelbook, and I think I've only ever seen like three on eBay the entire time I've been collecting. Mine's got a small dent in it, but I was like, just to own it, I don't care.
That's the holy grail, so to speak, like in that sense, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, so I've started to do that this year, like unique stuff in my collection, and I've started a little TikTok and YouTube series on it. Like I got a few unique things on my shelf that, just maybe odd things that people might not have, or, we've all done it, macheted a few things together and kind of put like a weird disc in. Like my Everything Everywhere has the American discs in the French steelbook. So,
Yeah, yeah.
very unique things like that.
It makes
But yeah.
everyone's collections unique as well, though. Like I collect a lot of like custom steelbooks. I get a lot of those made
Mm,
because I like the idea of knowing like that's just me. I'm the only person who owns that, unless
yeah.
someone else comes along and of course asks for the same one. But at
Yeah.
this moment, I am the only person.
That's pretty cool. Obviously, I've seen people do that in the community, but I don't think it's ever something I've ever thought of, like having something custom made, so to speak, and bespoke. I mean, I'd like to. I had a slipcover created before. That time when Spider-Man No Way Home didn't come with the slip and everyone's Marvel
Yeah,
collections
yeah,
did, when we all did it. Yeah, that was one I did make myself, so to speak. But yeah, it is good to make it your own, isn't it? And all of that.
exactly. And I think as well for like certain films, everyone's always got that one film in the back of their head that they love that's got an awful Blu-ray release, or it's
Mm,
like it's only got one release and it was 15 years ago. There's never been a special edition, never been a slipcover. It's just a standard Blu-ray case. And if you love the film that much, you don't mind paying the extra to upgrade it.
yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. It's worth it sometimes, isn't it? To us as collectors and as nuts of this space. What's your thoughts on slipcovers then, in terms of slips? Do you buy slipcovers? Are you an anti slipcover person? I'm on the fence, to be honest. I'm debating what to
Yeah.
do,
So
but
throughout my whole Blu-ray journey, I've flip-flopped so much on things like this because when I originally started collecting, I didn't even know what a steelbook was. That was
mm,
something I discovered later down the line. So I started just getting Blu-rays, and then I got into the habit of buying the slipcovers off eBay. And then I realized I'm buying so many films and then buying so many slipcovers off eBay to the point where sometimes the slipcovers are more expensive than the films that you're paying
yeah,
for them for. And it got to the point where I was like, oh, I can't keep doing this because it's like,
mm,
especially because as well, not every film has a steelbook. Sorry, not every film has a slipcover.
mm,
So you can't exactly plan to have everything with a slipcover. As you say, you could get some made, But if you start going down the route of getting some made for every that doesn't have it, buying some for everyone you don't have, it just becomes such an expensive thing. For at the end of the day, I know it looks good on a shelf, but it's just cardboard, innit?
Yeah. No, that's why I'm debating, because I did a video a long time ago. I reacted to my subscribers' setups and their collection, so to speak. And there was one or two who's a member of my channel and stuff. He's a really big supporter of us, and he basically has taken off all of his slipcovers, and I just love the uniformity of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It does look really good. And I find myself opening this picture every now and again and being like, "Oh, I should do this." I'm
do I
because
do it?
it
Yeah,
just looks a bit messy, and I've got steelbooks in with, steelbooks in with Amarais in with box sets. It's all just a bit mismatched. I kind of want to make a decision, but yeah, no, I didn't know. I just didn't know if you had to. Slipcovers are their own kettle
yeah.
of fish in this space. Let's just say.
So
Um,
what I've actually done to fight that problem myself is I've got all mine organized. So all the steel books are together in one section. All my slip covers are together in a separate section, and all my non-slip covers are together in a separate section. So they're all nice
yeah,
uniform together, but they're all still in their own like nice
I get you.
sections looking together.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit all over the place. My 4Ks are just all together, A to Z, mixtured. I've obviously got things like my Marvels and DCs on their own and like specific
Yeah,
collection-y things. But my Blu-rays, I've got them in alphabetical, but I've got the first half of things I have seen, and then the second half of things I haven't seen, which
yeah.
I really like that, because I'm like, do I want to watch something I've already seen, or do I want to actually just do something different? I'm just like, right, which one do I want to watch? Because I was debating doing that with the 4Ks, to be fair, because it is quite good, and it makes visually you're like, oh my Christ, like I haven't actually watched all of these films,
As much as you thought. Yeah,
like, oh God, because we can use the apps. Like, I don't know if you use like Bluray.com or some sort of login app to
I've
like,
used it in the past and that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard to maintain, isn't it? But if you go in there and you're like, oh, I've got 100 in the collection, I've seen 60, and not watched 40, But when you visually see it on the shelf, you're like, oh Christ, um, yeah, it's a whole thing, as you say. So I guess speaking
especially
of,
because
go on,
sorry,
go on.
especially because when you've got all your films, as you say, like you have, where it's all kind of mixed in,
Mm,
you don't really know where the blind buys are. You don't really like
yeah,
unless it's fresh in your mind and you've bought it in the last week. You know, you might have bought something 6 months ago and you've mixed it in with the pile and you have no clue if you've seen it or not.
yeah. I can tell you now, my blind buy is based on what I've not seen over there. I got 10 per box, and I've got six on a shelf. So I've got was 60, 120, There's
Jesus.
180 Blu-rays over there that I haven't seen. Yeah, so I've got more Blu-rays I haven't seen than I have seen in Blu-rays, because I've got about 110 Blu-rays I've seen on the shelf. Yeah, so I'm very much in the other camp of you.
Yeah,
You said
yeah.
you had 10, but yeah, 4K is not so bad. I think 4Ks is probably a bit better. I've seen more of the 4Ks than I have the Blu-rays, because the Blu-rays are cheaper. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, when you see one that's like a fiver, £6, whatever, £2, yeah, grab them. It's worth it. But yeah, 4Ks is a little bit different. So
Oh, definitely. And when you purge, you're more likely to purge more Blu-rays than you are more 4Ks.
I do, yeah, I do purge Blu-rays. I don't purge 4Ks. I don't sell 4Ks. I think I'll always keep every 4K, even if the film is terrible. I think that's just where I'm at with 4K.
Yeah.
Aspiring to own all of the, is it 990 titles now in 3 for 50 in HMV, I
Jeez.
think. Aspiring to own own all of them one day. Um, but yeah, no, 4K is kind of what I'd like to. I say I'm more of a quality nut, so I'm more of like the best type of film on the best quality possible. Whereas I see like the Blu-ray side of things for me is kind of like, my film knowledge, and I'm not seeing some classic films that everyone's meant to see and all of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, pick them up on there first, and stuff like that. So I guess we're talking about rewatchability, but how important do you think rewatchability is when deciding to buy physical media? Does that come into your mind at all,
Oh,
or?
yeah. So for me, it's I actually talk to a mate about this all the time. That's like one of my number one factors because we've all been to the cinemas and seen a 10 out of 10 movie that you'll
Mm,
never watch again. You'll never
mm.
talk about again. And the second you leave the cinema, you'll never even like think of it again. But then there'll be a movie that you rated a 6 out of 10 that you'll watch 4 times in a year.
Yeah,
And it's just, it's not a
yeah,
better movie, but there's just something about it. It might be more fun. It might only be 90 minutes, so it's quicker. might be something you can, have a few drinks with your friends and watch, something like that.
Yeah. Sometimes I think as well, some 6 out of 10 films are like easier to watch as well. Like if you know what I mean, you know.
Yeah, as a horror
Sometimes they're
fan,
hard.
I do. Most horrors are a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, but they're easy. They're easy to watch, so it's more plausible then, I suppose, having it on the shelf rather than, well, just having something that you're like, oh, I liked it in the cinema. It's an amazing film, but as you say, it's quite difficult to get through, and 3.5 hours long or something. So do I really want to watch it? So yeah, okay, that's interesting. Like obviously with me, I don't really prioritize rewatchability, in terms of I just kind of. Seem to get everything at this stage, and then have a cull every year. And if in January I kind of think, oh, I'm not gonna. This is I've seen this now. Yeah, whatever. My biggest thing though is sometimes having like 4Ks and the Blu-ray version, and I'm like, oh god, I haven't realized that I've already got two versions of the same film.
Yeah,
That's a
I think
thing.
we've all done that before. That's something, and I think every Blu-ray collector's journey, you have to go through that. You have to go through double buying,
Mm,
and you get home and you put it on the shelf and you go, God damn it, I got to get rid of the other one now.
yeah, yeah. So I guess in terms of physical media as a whole, then, do you think the future of physical media depends on um, I guess us passionate viewers, or is it just collectors? But where do you see the future of physical media?
I think at the moment collectors are very much like driving the market, but I think it's because of collectors, your average audience are getting back into it. We've
Mm,
all seen the sales are going back up, and that all can't be just because of us. Granted, we do all buy a lot, but like, if every say if even just one of everyone's viewers buy something, it
yeah.
helps the market grow. And if that happens every year, it keeps going up, keeps going up.
Mm,
And the more they keep releasing some really nice releases, like your nice steelbooks, your nice collector's editions. Yes, they are for collectors, but if someone sees that on your channel and goes, "Oh, that's my favorite film. I've never seen that before,"
mm.
they might
They
be more
might.
edged to go pick that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Is it
I
in?
can't imagine there's many average people scouring HMV every day to look at what gets uploaded and what's coming out and all the rest of
No.
it. Whereas if they see on our YouTubes or TikToks or whatever that we're posting about this film, they might be more aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's interesting, like you say, buyers' habits have definitely changed, haven't they? Obviously, the shift to online. We've got the resurgence of things like CEX, like a resell place. HMV, as you say, definitely announcing that things are on the up. But the habits have changed in the sense of supermarkets have stopped. And I think the casual viewers, probably our parents back in the day when we was kids, would pick up the DVD when they were doing the Tesco Asda shop or whatever it was. Because it'd be there, wouldn't it? You'd walk into the supermarket and there'd these massive standees and these massive, like, massive section, really.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
used to be one of my favorite parts as a kid. While my mum would do the shopping, I'd just go and look at the DVDs,
same.
and I'd always come back, and you'd be like, "Oh, could we get this one? Could we try this one?" And
Yeah,
now, if you're lucky, if you see like one row of DVDs in the supermarket these
yeah.
days.
It's a shame. It's a shame, but it's as you say, the targeted people. People in the supermarkets are not buying them anymore because chances are 9 out of 10 of them, if not more, are Netflix subscribers, for instance. So they don't want to buy a film anymore; they just stream it. Whereas it's good to see things like HMV kind of resurging and putting more money into it. And but I do think, as you say, the collector's editions are the real, like, I was say creme de la creme, but that is what's keeping it alive potentially.
I'd say that's where a majority of the money is coming from. If every movie that came out now was just a standard Blu-ray, I don't quite think the markups would be as high
Mm,
as what they are now. Whereas
yeah,
I get obviously, 4Ks are going up and steelbooks are going up, but if the collectors are passionate enough and they want them enough, they'll pay.
yeah,
Whereas your casual fan, if you kept raising standard Blu-rays, would probably just end up getting priced out and then just would stop buying them.
yeah. And I don't know if like Blu-rays are like. As far as I can remember, a Blu-ray has always been 14.99, 15.99, around that price.
Yeah,
I think I remember on Play.com, I bought Toy Story 1 and 2 when they came out, and I think they were about £16, £15, something like that. But that's what they are now. And I've got to be honest, Play.com was probably like, well, 10 years ago, maybe, if not a bit longer.
yeah,
So the price of Blu-ray, I don't know if it's technically come down a little bit because obviously the cost of living has drastically gone up, but the price of a Blu-ray has
yeah,
always been, we talk about a Fredo in the UK, don't we? The cost of a
yeah,
Fredo,
yeah.
but the cost of a Blu-ray is, I feel, I don't know about you, but always been about that £15 mark.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed that often because I remember going into like HMV like 10 odd years ago when when I first started looking into films and
Mm,
stuff, and as you say, the prices haven't changed too much there. I think it is more on the higher end stuff is where all the pricings tended to change. But I also think people's habits have changed a little bit. A lot
mm.
more people are more willing to go to CX and get a film for a fiver cheaper. Whereas I
Yeah.
feel like back then you'd want it brand new because, Blu-ray was a little bit newer and 4K wasn't as prevalent and, there wasn't all these crazy editions. So if you saw it in CX for a fiver, you'd pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so like, I guess the used market is not so shunned anymore. I used to feel a bit more
Yeah.
shunned, like, oh, you got you want a used model, you get a brand new one, Um, but I think I say this like quite a lot in my Blu-ray hunting videos. When you do go Blu-ray hunting, there's a lot more stuff in like a CEX nowadays that you can tell has come from a collector. The quality is just you being looked after,
Yeah, the slipcovers aren't
steelbooks.
battered. They haven't got the
Yeah,
corners chipped off and things like that.
stuff like that. The steelbooks sometimes have a steelbook protector on them if if you're lucky, and stuff like this. So you can really, most people trading in are not really the family that had a whole video cupboard or Blu-ray cupboard, DVD cupboard full of films that every person's just grabbing. Nowadays the people getting rid of them are like me and you. Like, I've looked after this for a while, but I don't really have a feeling for it anymore. I'm just gonna pass it on, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's kind of just collectors' yearly purges. Is kind of what ends up in CEX at this point.
yeah. So I guess if people did stop watching what they buy, in terms of your whole challenge that you're doing, do you think that weakens the case for physical media long term, or does it add to it? I suppose.
It's one of those. Obviously, if people are buying a lot more, but they're not watching it, obviously they're still buying it, so the money's
Mm,
still going up. But then I think it'll eventually get to a point where people will start trading in loads of stuff they haven't seen before to always buy the new thing. And I think it's always just going to keep going and going and going. And there's going
yeah.
to be so many people out there who've just got thousands of movies they've never watched, they're never going to watch. And I understand if you're the sort of collector who wants to like curate a collection, not only to watch, but just so you've got it till the discs stop working, basically.
Mm. Yeah, it's a whole plethora, isn't it, in terms of the rewatching stuff. And I got so much admiration for you and your page that you're doing, like in terms of watching your collection. And to be fair, it's kind of inspired me this year. I'm doing the 365 movie challenge where I'm just trying to watch 365 films this year, which I'm doing really well at, and all of
What
that.
number are you on so far?
I think at the point of this recording, I'm on 142, and we're on day 111. So
Doing very well.
yeah, but I know that in the summer, that like when I'm on holidays, I can switch off, and I need to be in because it'll catch up eventually. So,
Oh,
um,
exactly. It's the
so
exact same with my challenge. I'm trying to get as many done in the winter and like April, May sort of months because when it gets to summer, you're not going to want to sit in all day and watch four or
no,
five films. But then
no,
as soon as it gets to autumn and winter again, you're going to sit in more and watch
yeah.
more. So it's finding the balance, isn't it, of making sure you get the number up, but
Mm.
making sure that you're not just going to get to summer and go, oh no, I've got so many left, and I'm going to have to sit in all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually at the point of this recording, like I've actually uploaded this video at this going out, but I'm working on a video which is I'm watching 7 movies in 7 days. I'm kind of taking your little slogan, by the way, but like 7 days, but 7 classics is what it is. So I'm choosing 7 classic films that I've never seen. I've done Pulp Fiction, I've done Independence Day at the moment. I've got a few others to do. But like, what you're doing is making me look at my collection and think, yeah, I need to watch more. Do you know what I mean? I need to pick something off the shelf this evening and put it in because I don't know about you, but like I was so like I've got like a cinema room and like speakers and stuff like that, and if I can't watch her in the room, then I can't watch her at all because I'm doing the film an injustice by not watching it in the room was my logic. But I've had to change that, being a dad recently and, not able to just whack a film on top volume in the house anymore at
Yeah,
all
yeah,
hours. So I'm having to go downstairs and watch it in the living room setup. But, it's working because I think yes, there's certain films which I will definitely watch in this room and, if I haven't watched it for a long time. but there's also probably a lot more films that you can get away with watching, you know, down on a TV setup like I got downstairs, which is still really good. But you know what I mean? It's that used to restrict me. That used to really restrict me in terms of I'm not watching my Blu-rays because I can't watch it in the room. You know?
Yeah, no, I
So
completely agree. It's like I don't really have a cinema room or anything, but I've got in the front room, I've got a 75-inch TV. So
mm,
that's kind of where I do majority of like my 4K watching and things like that. But
yeah,
as you say, a lot of movies, your comedies, your rom-coms, a lot of like dramas, you don't really, you
yeah,
can watch it anywhere really. So if I watch it in the bedroom TV or if I watch it in here in the office setup, that's completely fine with me. But as you
yeah.
say, for the big occasion stuff, I'm not going to watch Interstellar in bed. I'm going
No,
to watch it in the big TV in
big
the front
TV.
room.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I've had to make that shift this year, and I have actually watched quite a few things in here with headphones on, which again is a different experience altogether. I've done a video on that, but you know, it's just important to watch a collection. I think ultimately is why I wanted to get at with this episode and the theme, because obviously it's around your collection goals, not collection goals, your little challenge that you've got going on this year. Which, by the way, shout out to all the viewers. You need to go and check it out. All links are down below to Blu-ray Broskis channels and Callum's all information, etc. Go and give them a follow because it's a really engaging. It's really engaging, and it's made me look at it differently, and I'm sure it will make many other people look at it differently. So thank you for coming on the show. But I guess one thing to end on. So, if you had to start your collection from scratch, what would you do differently?
So what I'd do differently, I'm sure we've all been there. At the start, you tend to just buy whatever you can get your hands on, whether you've seen it or not, whether you've heard good things about it or not. My advice would just be start with your like top 10 movies you've ever seen, your favorites, ones you will watch every year no matter what.
Mm,
Start with those and build up from there rather than just trying to grab everything you can because people have got bigger collections than you on the internet. That doesn't matter. You want your collection to be personal to you, your films, your favorites. It doesn't matter if you haven't got, a 10 out of 10 Oscar film in that 10. It doesn't matter. Just collect your favorites at the start and go from there.
well, that's a perfect way to finish off the episode, Callum. Thank you so much for coming on to Shelf Media Society, and yeah, it'd be great to have you on again in the future for any other topics that we discuss over DMs, or if you've got an idea, just hit me a message and we'll get you back on. But as I say, thanks everybody for watching along, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this little episode this week. And stay tuned for more episodes coming next week, or of course go back and watch a previous episode that we've got on the channel. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, not to mention YouTube, of course, and we've got short form content on TikTok, Instagram, etc. So there you go, there's all the plugs there. And finally, of course, go and check out Blu-ray Broskis, links all down below, or tagged into any of the videos online. Callum, thank you very much, and thank you
Oh,
everyone
thank
for
you for having
watching.
me on.
Cheers, thank you, and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.